Welcome to my channel. This is a part 2 to the Ariana Grande eating disorder reading. Please remember that this video, as well as every video on my channel, they're all alleged and for entertainment purposes only. Also, I keep getting a frog in my throat, so if I start sounding weird, just like please ignore that. But let's go ahead and get straight into it. So, the eating disorder started so young in her life when she was a child. She's been battling this eating disorder for like 20 years. Literally for like 2 decades. This is something that I don't want to say it's passed down in her family, but I think as far as the woman or the matriarch of the family, as far as the women of the family go, weight was always a conversation from the time she was a little girl. Excuse me. I'm thinking back to that video of her licking the donut. And she goes, Americans are so fat. I hate Americans. This is literally how people were talking in her household when she was a child. Okay. So that did not come from nowhere. And that did not come from her just being on the internet too much. She grew up in a household where that's how they spoke about people. Americans are so fat, they're so this, and we hate fatness, and we're like wealthier women. I don't know, but the way she was talking about Americans in that video, that is the culture of weight, fitness, health, diet, and all of that in her household. That's what she grew up hearing. So let's start there. But the disordered eating did not start. If anything, I feel like it started with like maybe a grandmother, a mother, a sister, a feminine in the family for sure. She was taught this, okay? I do think that with the Eight of Wands and the Six of Swords, definitely, she has seen so many people calling her fat online. She has seen thousands and thousands of people calling her fat. It's hard to stomach when one person calls us something we don't like. If one person called you a bee or whatever, like it's hard to get over that sometimes. Now imagine this being like your own fan base, right? Or, just people, like everywhere you go, like people are talking or telling you like, what y'all don't see is she was taught to calorie count. She was raised that way. And then being in the spotlight just made it 500 times worse. Because I'm telling you, whether you see it or not, whether you thought you saw it or not, at one point in her career, she got literally smothered with hate mail about how fat she was. Okay. And she was already insecure about her weight to begin with because of how they spoke about women's weight in her household. Okay. So I think she had an insecurity from childhood. I think that, she kind of worked on that insecurity. I think a lot of her insecurities, physical, the things that like, if you look at a child, not a child, but let's just say like a teenage Ariana, and then you look at her now, there's so much that's so different. She has literally fixed everything she was insecure about on her body. Like when she was a teenager or something like that, every insecurity she had, she put money into fixing now. And it's weird because I think she loves her appearance, but like in a sick way. Not like, obviously not in like a healthy, like, but I think she loves her appearance, her face. Yeah, it's weird. It's like she fixed everything and now it's something else. Like, I lost the weight, I gained the weight, then I lost the weight again, but then I got busier this time around and the depression hit a little bit harder this time around. So I didn't really recover, I think that her body, her health right now is the worst it's ever been in a very long time. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The ED comes from her childhood. And unfortunately, she was a child that was all over the internet and, all over the media, And it's like, while these things are pretty cool, like, I'm telling you, it feels nice to be able to turn on Nickelodeon and see you, or go out and people know you. Like, it feels very nice, But, like, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Her safety. I think the biggest problem with what happened after she blew up on Nickelodeon, her safety just, like, completely vanished. She was no longer safe. And I'm not even just talking about, like, physically and in a tangible sense, but mentally. And I don't know exactly how, but yeah, I think that there's a lot of love. I think there's hate mail. I think she's open letters of people telling her how beautiful and worthy she is. And I think she's open letters of people telling her that she's a fat slob and she's gross and she's a pig and, So there's that. Now we're going to go ahead and try and see how it progressed to... Interesting, look at this. It says, yay, son, proud mom, my trans, free grandma hugs. That's interesting. Yeah, because we have the Emperor and the Queen of Cups, which was giving, like, mother energy, because the Emperor in this deck is a woman, and the Queen of Cups is literally, like, the mother of the queens. And here we have the mom, the gay son, and then the supportive grandma, which is interesting. The Star and the Empress in reverse. Yeah, there it goes again. So, yeah, it's... Okay, I think when Ariana blew up, she kind of lost her mom in a way. Not that her and her mom were any less close, but I think her and her mom and her grandma and her brother, we have the mom, the gay son, and the grandma here. That's the picture that I have on this card. I think that she was in such pursuit of fame and success that she turned her back on her family a lot. And her family, they were right about a lot of things that she could have prevented. And I feel like this has to do with some of the men she's dated as well, including Ethan. Very much Ethan. I think they were supportive of her and Ethan because they love her. But I think they felt like Ethan was always a user. I think they were like, Ariana, this man is a user. He wants to use you. Why would he want this? The man is married. The man has a child. The man has a career. He's set. He's good. He made it. He already made it in life. Why would he be going after you? The only thing that separates you from his wife is the fact that you're famous. You are both women. You are both human. You're both women with feelings and hopes and dreams and families. Don't think that. Just understand the only difference is the stardom. And that's what he's after. That's what they told her. He's after the fame and the stardom. You're going to get with a man that's going to leave his whole family to be with you. I think that her family keeps it real with her, to be honest. I think her family keeps it real. I think they're actually very honest, very grounding, very they know how to humble her lovingly, But yeah, I think that the career, the success, the fame took her away from her mother. I think her mother was her father too. For some reason, I don't know. I just don't feel like dad was around. It's like those guys that like get remarried or they have another child and they forget that they had, their initial family. So, truthfully speaking too, if I'm gonna be real with you, I don't know if her mom approved of what Ariana was going after. I don't know if Ariana just wanted to do Broadway or acting, but I don't think her mom was a major fan of her going into the music industry. I think her mom knew exactly how things were ran. I think her mom always wanted Ariana to do something like creative, artsy, and fun. But I think the music industry specifically scared her mom. And I think there was some discord between the two of them there. You know, not that her mom didn't support her, because her family, they're so proud. Like, they're so proud. They're so proud. Like, because they've seen all the rejection and all the hours that she's put in and all the crying and all the whatever. Money issues, health issues. They have seen everything that she's sacrificed. And I think Ariana sacrificed a great chunk of her life. But yeah, no, her mom was not supportive of the music career, to be honest. I think her mom wanted her to stick with like cinema and Broadway. This picture is like so funny to get this doing her reading, because I think anyone who's like a fan of her has seen her family, and this totally sums it up. But yeah. I don't know. Her mom didn't approve of the stardom. I think her mom saw like the ED. I think she saw just stuff. Just all types of issues going on within Ariana. And I think, hold on. Let's see how her family felt about Victorious and Dan Schneider. How did her family feel about Victorious and Dan Schneider? Two of Cups, Five of Cups, Page of Swords. Wow. Back to the deck is Four of Swords. They thought that Victorious was the perfect opportunity. They thought that the character Ariana was playing was literally so perfect for Ariana. Like, they literally saw it with the Two of Cups. They saw it and they were like, yes, this was meant to be. Ariana does this character so well. Like, this, like, because Kat was kind of like a ditzy, cutesy girly. And I think I think that Ariana used to watch films and cinema as a kid and literally practice the scenes that she saw on the TV and would pretend to be different characters. I think just creative, artsy, like stuff like that. Like, I think Ariana literally came out the womb with like a special talent or something. Like, I think they could tell what her calling was super early in life. But I think that she would stand in front of the TV and I think she would play, like, she would pick these like really ditzy, kind of girly, cutesy characters to kind of mimic and emulate. Even like, I hate to say it, but even like kind of like a lot of Marilyn Monroe characters that she played, kind of like cute, a little airheaded, something like that. I think Ariana loved to pretend to be those types of characters. So I think when it came to her doing Kat, it was literally like all the stars aligned. Like, it was she had been practicing her whole childhood. When they told her, yeah, this is Kat, this is like, oh, this is perfect. I always do stuff like this. So I think that's why she played Kat so well, because she had her own little spin on Kat. She had this like little retro movie kind of persona that she brought to Kat that really, really like helped, the viewers get the point quick. You know what I mean? It makes sense. So yeah, no. They thought that Victorious was the perfect opportunity. I think later on, they did go on to learn what happened behind closed doors. And her having to leave that opportunity in the past. For some reason, I feel like her brother feels a lot of guilt. I think her brother's very protective of her. Like, that more like, that very, very protective masculine energy definitely comes out when it comes to his sister. There are things that went on in that household that the public will never know. And just things that, like, as a little girl scared the shit out of her, you know, crying, like, make it stop. Like, I think that there was a lot of chaos. I'm getting the divorce between her parents was brutal. Like, I think there was a lot of chaos in her household. In my mind, I'm getting all that glitters ain't gold. But I think he's very protective of his sister, and I think learning about what happened or what was happening behind closed doors broke his heart. Like, he broke his heart, and he could have drowned in the pieces. That's how many pieces there were. Like, broke his heart. And then I think that he tries to be an advocate for people going through, you know, that type of abuse within workspaces and stuff like that. I really do think he's a little bit of an activist. He's definitely quite the activist, come to think about it. He's definitely quite the activist. I think her whole family, I think that they're all activist. I think that they're all very progressive. I think they're genuinely pretty fair people. Don't F with me vibe, but pretty fair people. So, and I think part of why, Ariana is a huge LGBTQIA plus advocate, not even just, you know, because of her brother, but because, you know, she was also raised to speak up for what she believes in. Yeah. Yeah, no, they thought it'd be perfect and it wasn't. And he's very protective over her. He's extremely protective over his sister. He sees her as like a little like baby bird. Little baby bird. Five of Swords coming out, contracts. Ten of Wands in reverse. Ace of Cups. The Magician in reverse. Four of Cups. Yeah, I think for Ariana, you know, her dreams came true. Her wildest wishes came true. Most people will never see their wildest wishes come true, and hers came true. But with the Magician in reverse and the Ten of Wands in reverse, it didn't really feel like an even exchange to get there, to be honest. It definitely felt meant to be. It definitely felt like the fame kind of chose her. But yeah. For some reason, it's like she got everything she wanted and everything she didn't, too. Like, everything she was afraid of happening to her happened. And I think her mother was very protective, as much as she could be. You know, a lot of success, an important name behind the scenes. Like, her mother has power for sure. She's showing up on the Emperor. Her mother gives a very masculine vibe. But while I do feel like for Ariana, it was like, oh, my dreams came true. With the Ten of Wands in reverse, that's like feeling crushed under the weight of expectations. And, you know, things got to get worse before they get better, but things just keep getting worse. You know, it's like the expectations and the demands just grow and grow and grow, and problems get worse and worse and worse. And the Magician in reverse, there's just a lot that she's not allowed to be her free, real, authentic self. And with the Four of Cups, presently, like June 22nd, 2026, she's not bored with the fame, but she doesn't love the fame at all anymore. She gets to be on stage and live her dreams. Don't get me wrong. Like, she gets to be a pop star, a Grammy-winning pop star. Most of us will never be that. Most of us will look at those people all the time and, you know, want to be something like that. But she is living every little girl's dream, right? Not every, but a lot. And I think that's beautiful. And I think when she steps off stage, it kind of reminds her why she did it. And she feels good, she feels at peace, she feels at home. However, there are like months and months and months and weeks and between pop star time, right? Between the events and the shows, like in between, life is just like, oh my God, all I have is my career. Like, oh my God, how did this happen? Like, all I have is a career. I don't have anything else anymore. You know, it's like my life is literally just work. So I think right now that's how she's feeling. Like, oh my goodness, all I have is my career. You know, like, not that she doesn't have other things, but like, she hasn't accomplished as much in her relationships as she's wanted to. I'm serious. Like, I really feel like men, and I've seen this, she has a lot of men courting her at once all the time. And I think that she will rely on male friendship just because it's there. You know, it's like there's always a guy willing to be a friend. So it's like, if I need a friend, it's probably going to be a guy because that's who's most immediate. You know, they're not in competition. They're not jealous of me. They don't want to be me. So it's a bit easier to get along with the guys. And I think a lot of trouble has come from that, where these are guys that she would just simply like as a friend, like, because there's so many. And it's a lot harder in her position to make female friends when you're that big. You know, most women in your industry want to be you. So, like, good luck. But not necessarily the men. You know what I mean? They're not trying to take over what she has. So, yeah, definitely. That's where a lot of the trouble started. And it wasn't like, I don't even think it's like I think about like Mac Miller for an example. Just another example of like, I have a guy who wants to be my friend and he's a very cool guy. And you know, the other girls on set are competing with me, or, you know, the other ones are trying to, you know, find out how to, oh, who's it, like, you know, so here's a guy who's not gonna, you know, do that. And I think that's how that started. And I think her having a lot of guys in her life was not necessarily like I mean, maybe it was a boy crazy thing, yeah. But also just like these were the not only, but there were a far greater number of guys or men versus women willing to truly be there for her for whatever reason, right? But nevertheless, they were always willing to be there for her. So naturally just had more male friends. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop right there. I feel like I'm starting to yap. Please remember, this is all alleged for entertainment purposes only. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and let me know what you'd like to see next.